Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. We people always expect our life to be prosperous, and therefore we have to worship the goddess, namely Parvati. How do we worship goddess Parvati? If we know, if we have learnt scriptures, that would be the most appropriate way of her adoration. If not, we will take to the Sanskrit language, in which a lot of works are available to appreciate and worship goddess Parvati. And when we have simple devotional songs on Parvati, and therefore we can sing those songs, understand them, and appreciate her, so that our life will be full of prosperity. And if when Goddess Parvati is ready to bless us, our status will go up. Many people will hold an umbrella over our head to prevent us from suffering of the scorching sun, and they will adorn us with a lot of embellishments, and they will give us all facilities. They will smile at us, others will smile at us, and they will always give words of appreciation, so that we will be happy to hear them, their pleasant words. They will garland us. So all these advantages are through our worship of Goddess Parvati. She is ready to make the whole world full of welfare, and she will help us to win over the 6 enemies in our own selves, namely the uncouth desire, unnecessary, unwanted desires, and control of our fury, anger, extreme anger. So she will iron out our confusion. You would have heard about Adi Shankaracharya's stotram called Moha Mudgaram. Moha meaning confusion, Mudgaram being the hammer. So she hammers out our confusion. And when we are greedy, she will remove our greed. And finally, she will remove our insolence, pride, haughtiness, and jealousy over others. So these 6 enemies, namely the uncouth desire, the fury, namely the extreme anger, the confusion, the pride, the jealousy or envy, kamaha, krodha, moha, lobha, and the greed also. So these 6 enemies will haunt us every time, and we have to control them by the blessings of Goddess Parvati, and she will dispel all our sins from the very first birth, and she will also remove our ignorance and give us the spiritual wisdom. So these will happen only when we worship sincerely and faithfully Goddess Parvati, and she will bless all of the creations, starting from the Lord of creation, namely Brahma, up to even a blade of grass on the earth, which is stamped over by us. Therefore, we must become pure in our hearts and worship Goddess Parvati. She has an expectation from us that we will all worship her frequently, whereas we have been affected by ignorance, called tamas in Sanskrit, that engulfs us from the very moment of our birth in this world, and called a wind by name Shatha. She will help us to win over this wind, rather control the wind, and we will all consider our riches as a small blade of grass. And we will all worship the goddess only to please her and not to please ourselves. And that will give her the happiness, and she will have a blessing look on us. Here, if whenever we transgress the rules of the scriptures, she will stop us and prevent us from going away, drifting away, or wean away from the right path. Let us all faithfully start worshipping the goddess, because all the 33 crores of gods in heaven have their wives worshipping, especially Goddess Parvati. And Goddess Parvati is a seat of success, is a source of victory. And she will solve all the problems of life of all the living beings in the world. And she is the source of all prosperity. How do we do it? Let us all be devoted to the divine feet of the Goddess Parvati. It is enough that we bow our head a little instead of falling like a stick on the ground with the men's 8 limbs touching the floor and women touching 5 limbs on the floor. And the blessing of Goddess Parvati will keep us, will make our life smooth, and at the end of our life, she will take us to the right place of unalloyed happiness. So there is a problem that we face often, namely in daily life, that we don't have the blessings of Goddess. Her merciful look at the devotees will always be affectionate, and we suffer by 3 troubles. We are actually suffering like as we are heated by the summer season. And the 3 troubles are Adi Bhautikam, Adhyatmikam, Adi Daivikam. So Adi Bhautikam is called physical trouble. You would have heard about tornado in USA, hurricane, storm, fire accident, heavy flood, inundating the city, plague, disease of a particular area in total, like corona or Omicron. So many natural difficulties are there, natural disasters. So these disasters will be solved by the blessing of Goddess Parvati, and therefore It is enough that we just bow a little and worship her. Her divine lotus like feet are responsible to ensure the welfare of the entire world or entire universe. And when we look at the uh, divine feet with devotion, we are afraid earlier that our life has become more and more difficult in the future. We are worried about future. We have ignorance about what we must plan to do. Therefore, so this darkness of ignorance will be dispelled by the blessings of Goddess Parvati as the sunlight. In shAstra, in scriptures, we find there are 12 suns, sun gods, SUN, and there are 11 Rudras among the 33 crores of gods. So we have an army of protectors, and Parvati, the goddess, will enthuse them to bless us by solving the problems of our life. Here, our devotion should go deep and deep and higher, that we must beg Goddess Parvati to bless us with a lot of things which she understands as basically required by each one of us. So you find that very easy to consider that Parvati, the goddess, is our mother. Mata Devi Tvam Asi Bhagavan Shivaha Pita. So this is the relationship between Lord Shiva and Parvati. They are our parents. That is why Kalidasa said, Mata Pitaro. And then we are all young children in spite of our old age. We are all innocent children that generally parents will always aim at the welfare of their children. And we must approach a preceptor. We must go to a teacher who is full of knowledge, and then every time when we go to a preceptor, the preceptor gives us good advice, and the good advice will lead to the devotion, and devotion towards the divine feet of Goddess Parvati will stand us in good stead. And she is the source of all auspiciousness, and she is an irreducible treasure of all goodness, and she is so merciful, and there is no one other than Parvati to have more mercy. So she is always happy, and she will make us also happy. That should be our attitude in life also. We must be happy. We must make others also happy. We should not feel always sad. We should not make others also, because of our troubles, sad. And therefore, we must believe scriptures, and she is the beautiful smelling garland of mandara, yellow colored flowers which grow in heaven on the head of the scriptures, namely Upanishads, as Upanishads adore her very beautifully. She is our divine property. She should be in our heart permanently, so that she will be a wish yielding cow. You would have heard about the name Kamadhenu of heaven, which will accede to our request. She will be called Sakala Bhavana Prarthana Kamadhenu. If all the worlds worship her and request her, all the wishes will be fulfilled by Goddess Parvati, as being a Kamadhenu. But all these fruits, advantages will come to us only when we are devoted to our preceptor. Upachita Guru Bhakte. When we collect our devotion towards the Guru, teacher, then all this will be successful. With this, we will welcome you back to the next session on Vasanta Navaratri, and we understand more the greatness of Goddess Parvati. And thanks to the devotees of Falsom Hindu Temple and Cultural Center, CA, USA. Dhanyavada.